All rise. Veuillez vous lever. The International Criminal Court is now in session. L'audience de la Cour pénale internationale est ouverte. Please be seated. Veuillez vous asseoir.
Good morning, Mr. President. We are in open session.
Thank you very much. Could you put the matter on the record for today? Thank you.
Situation in the Republic of Kenya in the case of the prosecutor versus William Samoei Ruto and Joshua Arap Sang, case number ICC 0109-0111.
Thank you. Appearances, do they remain the same?
Your Honor, good morning. For the prosecution, Lucio Garcia joins us this morning, otherwise the same as yesterday.
The same, Your Honor. Thank you. Good morning, Your Honor. For Mr. Sang is myself, Katwa Keegan, Caroline Buisman, Logan Hambrick, and Mr. Sang is present. Thank you, Your Honor.
And we remain the same. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And in Nairobi, I see the witness has joined us. And Mr. Karate as well. Can you hear us in Nairobi?
Yes, Mr. President, we can hear you.
Right. Thank you. Mr. Karate, the gentle reminder, we start at 9:30 over here. That would be, I think, 10:30 your time. Thank you. Quickly on in terms of scheduling.
Thank you.
In terms of scheduling, Council requested to know when the next session starts and ends. And we tell you that now. The session after the current one will start on the 17th of November and would go on until the 12th of December. That is for the session after the current one. As for the current session, we would like to have the subpoenaed witnesses for this session completed as indicated earlier in the existing schedule by the 2nd of October. That is very much what we would like to see happen. If need be, we may go beyond the 2nd of October, especially if we need to do that for purposes of accommodating witness 28 in particular. We had mentioned that when a witness is ready, we should take that witness. And as for 28, we had indicated that the parties should be prepared to take that witness as soon as the witness can be scheduled in. We can return to this later to discuss it, but let's not spend, if there's any observations, we can make that at another time. Right now, we will continue with the testimony of the witness. Mr. Steinberg.
Thank you, Your Honours. Good morning, Mr. Witness.
Jambo, Mr. President.
Witness, good morning, Mr. President.
All right. Mr. Witness, we're in public session. We're going to start off in public session this morning, so I remind you, please, not to mention any information that may identify yourself. You understand?
Nakuelewa, sir.
Witness, yes, I have understood.
And if you need to refer to any person or location that is on the PIS sheet, please refer to them by the relevant number. Okay? You understand? Mr. Witness, did you hear me? Nairobi, can you hear me?
Ndivyo sasa. Nakusikia.
Thank you.
Witness, yes, Mr. President, I'm with you.
Madam Court Officer, can you confirm that the updated PIS has been placed before the witness?
Mr. Steinberg, I confirm that the witness has page 2 of the PAS that I received this morning in front of him.
Thank you, Madam Court Officer. Mr. Witness, I'd just like to draw your attention to the first section headed locations. You'll notice that I've added as 3 and 4 another 2 locations that you mentioned in your evidence yesterday. Do you see that?
Naiona sasa.
Yes, I can see that.
So again, if you need to refer to any of these places, please refer to the numbers on the PIS. All right.
Mr. Steinberg, what changed in the PIS?
Your Honours, the previous PIS read...
Can we go to the private session to deal with this?
We are in open session, Mr. President.
Thank you. Mr. Witness, when we broke off yesterday, you had just began to explain to the Chamber how you came to sign the statement KenOTP 00870031 that you identified yesterday. Do you recall that you were doing that?
Rudia tena, sijakuelewa sasa.
Witness, can you kindly repeat your question, please? I didn't quite get it.
Well, it wasn't in fact a question. I was just reminding you where we left off yesterday afternoon. Is it correct that you had confirmed that you had signed a statement in location 4 on the 23rd of November 2012? Is that correct?
Ni ukweli. Sawa.
Yes, it's correct.
And you told the Chamber that you had been interviewed by the 2 persons named on that statement. I won't name them in public session. You'd been interviewed from the 20th to the 23rd of November 2012. Is that what you said?
Ni vile sasa.
That's correct.
And you had begun to explain how you came to sign that statement. And you'd mentioned that some things were, when you arrived, you found the statement and some things in it were correct and some were incorrect. Do I recall correctly?
Ndivyo, lakini samahani nilisema uongo, lakini ningerekebisha tu kusema haikuwa vile inatakikana.
Yes. I think I said what I should not have said. That is, I told some lies, and that is what I corrected.
Can you please explain that, Mr. Witness? Do we have the tissues?
Nimesema
This is what I'm saying. I made a correction. If yesterday I said something that is not true, I would like to correct it, but I do agree that I did sign that statement.
What is it that you would like to correct, sir?
kuhusiana na statement ambayo umeniuliza haswa kama namba moja.
Answer. You have just asked me a question in relation to my statement. There is a statement which I have already corrected, and then yesterday we made some further corrections to that statement.
All right. I recall you corrected that you signed on the 23rd and not the 24th, as you originally said. Is that what you're referring to?
Ni hivyo saa na sehemu ya
Answer. Yes. That is what I'm referring to. And we also corrected the location at which I used to live.
We are in open session, Mr. President.
Witness, we're back in the open session. I'll remind you again, be careful to not, when we're in public session, mention identifying information. Use that PIS in front of you if the information you would testify to is there, that is identifying. Do you understand?
Yes, Mr. President.
All right, Mr. Witness. I'd like to then return to a question I asked you before we went into private session. And I had asked you if you could please explain to the Chamber the positions that Mr. Ruto held in 2007.
In 2007, Mr. Ruto was campaigning in the ODM party, and he wanted to be a member of parliament at that time.
For which area?
For Eldoret North, please.
And I think everyone agrees that he was campaigning for the ODM, correct?
Yes, yes.
And he was also a member of the ODM Pentagon, the top leadership of the ODM party. Is that right?
Well,
yes.
I think... I don't want to interrupt, I haven't, but are we going to lead the witness?
Is that in dispute? That proposition? Was Mr. Ruto not a member of the Pentagon?
That's not the issue. The issue is this witness's knowledge.
Objections overruled.
Thank you, Mr. Witness. You can Oh, you've already answered the question, I see. All right. Now, was Mr. Ruto successful in his campaign as MP for Eldoret North in 2007 elections?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, besides Mr. Ruto's political position as an MP, can you tell the Chamber anything about Mr. Ruto's position in Kalenjin society?
Repeat it again, I didn't understand. Please, sir.
I've heard you say that Mr. Ruto was campaigning for a political office of Member of Parliament. All right?
Yes.
I'm asking you now about something else. Can you tell us about Mr. Ruto's position among the Kalenjin ethnic group? What positions, if any, did he hold among the Kalenjin?
There were a lot of leadership, so he held it in the part of the leadership.
What part of the leadership did he hold?
I don't know I know that I know that he holds the leadership, but I don't know which part now. I didn't know that which part, but I know it is the leadership of the Kalenjin.
Mr. Steinberg, witness, you can listen to the question in English, but it may be better if you stayed answering in Swahili.
Sorry, Mr. President.
Stay consistent with Swahili. Thanks.
All right. Can you explain to the Chamber when did Mr. Ruto become a leader among the Kalenjin? How did that happen?
So I am not aware of that.
And can you tell the court anything about Mr. Ruto's status or influence among Kalenjin society?
Sijakuelewa mzuri sana.
I did not understand you, Mr. President.
Your Honour, may I respectfully ask that this witness has the question translated into Swahili? Because the problem is, when he's asked or listens in English, it's the English that dictates the vocabulary. And he's naturally going to incline to try and answer in English, which is perhaps not wholly adequate. And I think melding the two, Swahili translated for him, and then he answers, perhaps actually might be the shorter route in the long term as we're experiencing.
Mr. Keegan Kaswa, we have to, it looks like that's what will have to happen. Different views on this. Mr. Keegan Kaswa wants English, and it looks like we have to go with Mr. Hooper's suggestion on this one. Mr. Steinberg, we will switch you to Swahili. You will not be speaking it, of course, but if you sensed that there is maybe difficult, basically we all have to be very keen to what's happening. If there may be issues that didn't come through and we sense it, we may have to return to the question. But we will now have the questions fed to the witness in Swahili.
Thank you, Your Honours. I think in the circumstances that might be the best in the long run. All right. I'm going to repeat my last question and ask that this and subsequent questions be interpreted for you into Swahili. And the question was, can you tell the Chamber about anything about Mr. Ruto's influence in the Kalenjin community?
Bwana Ruto alikuwa mkubwa wa Kalenjin.
Mr. Ruto was the leader of the Kalenjins.
And when did he become leader of the Kalenjins?
Sikufahamu. Sina.
Sir, I do not know. I do not know at what time he became the leader of the Kalenjin.
Are you aware, sir, of an organization called the Constituency Development Fund, or CDF?
Ndivyo najua.
Yes, I know.
And who was the chairman of the CDF?
Alikuwa anaitwa Mr. Maya.
His name was Mr. Malia.
Mr. Witness, can you repeat the name of that person? I heard something different from what was translated. In fact, can you spell the surname?
Inaandikwa M-A-I.
The spelling is M-A-I-Y-O, Mayo.
Thank you. And where was Mr. Mayo from? Which area?
Sifahamu mahali alikuwa anatoka.
I do not know.
What can you tell the Chamber about the relationship between Mr. Mayo and Mr. Ruto?
Kwa ufahamu wangu, Mr. Mayo.
As far as I know, Mr. Mayo was the chairman of the CBF, while Ruto was the member of parliament for that area. All the money that Mr. Mayo was managing was under the responsibility of Honorable Ruto.
Thank you. So you've told us about the two positions that they held. Are you able to tell the court anything else about their relationship? How was their relationship? Was it good? Was it bad? Was there no relationship? Please explain.
Hapo sijui sababu.
I do not have any details about that.
All right. Let's move on to a different topic then, shall we? You've told the Chamber in private session about your political activities, and I don't want you to repeat them in public session. But I would like to ask whether in the period leading up to the 2007 elections, whether you attended any political meetings, in particular ODM political meetings.
Hapana.
No.
Have you ever attended any meeting, any public meeting, at which Mr. Ruto spoke prior to the 2007 elections?
Hapana.
No.
Have you ever attended any private meetings at which Mr. Ruto was present or spoke prior to the 2007 elections?
Hapana.
No.
Do you know a person by the name of Farouk Kibet, K-I-B-E-T?
Ndio namjua.
Yes, I know that person. I simply know him physically.
What can you tell us about Mr. Kibet? Any positions he held? Any political affiliations he had, etc.?
Farouk Kibet, Mr. Farouk Kibet alikuwa anasimamia.
Answer, Mr. Farouk Kibet was responsible for the road company, or rather the road board.
In what area?
Ilikuwa kwenye eneo la Eldoret North, ingawaje sikujua alikuwa anachukua namna gani, lakini alikuwa anahudumia.
In Eldoret North, I know he was in the Eldoret North area.
And who appointed Mr. Farouk Kibet to that position?
Hapo sijui kama ilikuwa na upande wa serikali ama ilikuwa.
Answer, I do not know whether it was a public appointment or whether it was Mr. Ruto who selected him, but I know that he was responsible for the road board in Eldoret North. I know that some of the companies or boards are managed by the state, while others are managed by the MPs.
And what can you tell the Chamber about the relationship between Mr. Farouk Kibet and Mr. William Ruto?
Sifahamu.
I do not know.
Very well. Have you ever attended any meetings at which Mr. Kibet spoke prior to the 2007 elections?
Hapana.
No.
Do you know about any such meetings held by Mr. Farouk Kibet?
Hapana.
No.
Do you know which political party Mr. Kibet supported prior to the 2007 elections?
Hapana. Sababu yuko.
No, he was living quite far away from me, very far away from me.
So no, you don't know which political party he supported.
Ndivyo.
That's correct.
All right. I'd like to get an idea, please, about your location and movements in the period prior to and following the 2007 elections. Your Honours, may I ask that we briefly go into private session for this purpose?
How long?
I imagine it would be 5 minutes approximately.
Private session.